Hello everyone. Today we are going to take a closer look at our familiar friend, the English textbook Spotlight for grade 10. We're going to delve a little deeper, looking beyond grammar rules and vocabulary lists to explore how different countries are represented in it. We all know that learning a language is more than just memorizing words. It's about understanding the culture, the history, and the people who share that language. And that's where the importance of country studies comes in. So, for this presentation, we decided to dive deeper into Spotlight and analyze its content. We wanted to see how much emphasis it places on those vital cultural elements, those stories and experiences that make English so rich and vibrant. We looked specifically at the presence of country-specific texts and exercises, those materials that help us understand the unique identities of English-speaking countries and their impact on the language. Alright, let's take a closer look at the breakdown of context in the Spotlight textbook. We've analyzed the different types of texts present, and this pie chart represents our findings. As you can see, a significant portion, 45% of the textbook, is dedicated to topic texts. These are texts that focus on general themes or concepts like science, technology, or social issues. While important, they do not specifically engage with cultural context or language variations. Now, moving on to the country studies elements, we see that about 26% of the textbook focuses on texts about English-speaking countries. This is a good start, offering students a window into the diverse cultures and histories that contribute to the English language. Interestingly, about 80% of the textbook is dedicated to texts about Russia, highlighting the importance of understanding our own cultural context within the broader world. Finally, we have about 11% dedicated to texts about other countries. This represents a valuable opportunity to broaden students' horizons and explore exposure to different cultures, but it also indicates a potential area for further development. Overall, while the textbook does include a significant percentage of country studies materials, the emphasis is primarily on English-speaking countries and Russia. There's definitely room for expanding the scope of cultural exposure to include a wider range of countries and culture experiences.
Alright, let's into the specific cultural elements that are covered in the Spotlight textbook. We've broken down the content based on the various cultural aspects that are presented. As you can see from this chart, people and sites take the lead with 26 and 24% of the content respectively. This means we are frequently exposed to information about people from different countries, their customs and notable landmarks or locations. Lifestyle follows closely at 21%. This suggests a focus on everyday life in various English-speaking countries, covering aspects like food, traditions, and daily routines. It's a valuable aspect that helps students connect with cultural context. Literature occupies 18% of the content, highlighting the importance of literary work in understanding the cultural nuances of English-speaking country. However, as we move down the list, we notice these aspects like history, animals, and food receive significantly less representation. This suggests a possible imbalance in the textbook's content. While there is a good focus on people, sites, and lifestyle, we see a limited exploration of other cultural components like history, animal life, or food traditions. Moving forward, as you can see from this chart, Module 1 leads the pack with 8 country studies texts. This suggests a strong emphasis on cultural content right from the start, potentially setting a strong foundation for exploring various cultures. Following Module 1, we see a slight decrease in the number of country studies texts in Modules 2, 3, and 4, with each containing 6 and 7 texts respectively. While the numbers decrease slightly, the textbook continues to offer opportunities for students to engage with cultural content. Modules 5, 6, 7, and 8 each have 4 country studies texts. While the number remains constant in these modules, it's important to note the overall decrease from the earlier modules. This trend highlights an interesting observation. The textbook appears to prioritize cultural content more heavily in the early modules. This approach might be intentional, introducing students to diverse cultural experience. However, maintaining a consistent presence of country studies elements through all modules could ensure that students continue to develop their cultural understanding.
Now let's take a look at the types of country studies activities that are present in the Spotlight textbook. As you can see from this chart, reading tasks dominate the scene, accounting for 36% of the country studies activities. This indicates a strong emphasis on reading comprehension and engaging with texts that offer insights into different cultures. Next in line are listening tasks, making up 39% of the country studies activities. This suggests that students are actively involved in listening to authentic materials such as audio recordings or interviews to experience language and culture in a more interactive way. Writing tasks constitute 16% of the country studies activities, suggesting that students have opportunities to express their understanding and perspectives in written form. This promotes critical thinking and encourages students to explore cultural topics in a more personal and reflective manner. Finally, speaking tasks make up 9% of the country studies activities. This indicates that while there are opportunities for oral communication in the context of cultural exploration, the emphasis is primarily on reading, listening, and writing. Overall, the textbook offers a balanced approach to engaging students with country studies content, focusing primarily on reading and listening activities. While there are opportunities for writing and speaking, those activities are less prominent. The Spotlight textbook demonstrates a remarkable level of relevance in its content. Every text and exercise is thoughtfully crafted to directly align with the learning objectives and skill development goals of the 10th grade curriculum. In conclusion, our analysis of the Spotlight textbook for the 10th grade English has revealed a significant presence of country studies texts and exercise. The textbook does a commendable job of introducing students to diverse cultures and fostering cultural understanding. However, we've also identified some areas for potential improvement. While the textbook includes a good amount of cultural content, it's not evenly distributed throughout the modules. There is a noticeable emphasis on cultural content in the early modules, which gradually decreases in later modules. This uneven distribution might create an imbalanced learning experience for students. Additionally, we observed that while the textbook covers various countries and cultures, there is a need for greater focus on Anglophone countries. Increasing the number of texts and exercises specifically about Anglophone countries would provide students with a more immersive experience, helping them to better understand the nuances of the English language and culture. Incorporating more diverse perspectives and enriching the cultural content throughout the textbook would create a more engaging and impactful learning experience for students. By strengthening the focus on Anglophone cultures, the textbook can empower students to connect with the language and culture on a deeper level, ultimately enhancing their language skills and cultural awareness.